Well, most of our micro influencers, either they reach out to us, and I mean, there is a review process. We definitely look through their feed, see it's engagement's a lot of it. You know, if they have 20,000 followers, but they get 7,000. I mean, there's people that they have crazy engagement levels. It's kind of insane sometimes. Like more than 50% of their people are actually liking their pictures. How are they even seeing this? And they have hundreds. If it's fake likes or not because they have hundreds of comments.
Exactly.
So that's a big thing for us, engagement. A lot of times it's just like sincerity in the approach, just how they are when they come to us.
Yeah.
We have micros that we work with over and over and over again because they're so great, and they drive a lot of our organic traffic. We do outreach, like if we have a girl that her title is follow unfollow, and all she does, she's like, we call her follow unfollow. It's kind of a joke, but she just literally goes back and forth, following and unfollowing, figuring out like this person's right, this person's right, this person's wrong, this person, and through that we get micros, and then we also reach out to people for brand collaborations, which we do a lot on Instagram as well, like mutual giveaways and things like that.
That's cool.
Great. What about you, Jen?
How do I manage it?
Yeah, or what's your criteria for?
It's really, again, not super organized. Well, for the bigger bloggers, it is very organized. My PR agency handles it. We're actually, right now, working on that. But for the micro, I just I was getting a lot of people reaching out to me through direct message on Instagram, and I didn't even realize until I saw like hundreds of messages. So I forwarded everything to another marketing agency that I have, not my PR, and they are taking care of it. It was too stressful for me to handle and try to go on everything. It's a lot, yeah. But but I'm pretty strict because if I'm gonna give product away, I just want it to be like a good. I don't just give product to anyone. It has to be, someone who, I look at their feed and I think their aesthetic is congruent with ours. Would be a great match and like you said, like make sure that they have a lot of engagement.
So they're real.
Because it's real.
Yes,
I guess engagement is the way to.
That's what so many factors, but engagement's a big one for us.
Yeah, brand right, look right, brand engagement.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Dawn.
I would have to say, same for me, really. Engagement is huge for us. I think that they truly have to be well, first off, let me just say that I think some of the micro influencers, maybe for us at least, better than some of the huge influencers out there, so to speak. They have to look right. They have to walk the walk. Their pictures need to be organic. It has to be real. They need to be passionate about the product. There are so many factors that go into this. And similarly to you guys, we really are very particular on who we allow to use our product. Yeah, I mean, we're always forecasting trends. Pantone colors are huge for us because in accessories, whatever clothes are out there, our customers always want to coordinate their accessories with their clothing. So it's important to be on point with your palette. Always be on point with the palette. I feel like you have your 4 or 5 key colors. But also, I think it's really important, you can look at all the runway looks, but it has to be transferable in everyday life. You can have a fringe earring that's to here on the runway, but nobody in real life is going to wear that. So to us, it's really important for us to be on trend, but also have it be realistic. We also have a core group of styles in our collection. It's our signature collection. And we look through our past performance, what is sold? What do our customers want? We could infuse some color into that, change it a little bit based on whatever type of element is on trend that given season. So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
You're welcome.
Jen?
For me, I'm really gut driven. I think it was Iris Apfel that said there's really inspiration everywhere. So if your eyes are open, you will be inspired. If your mind is open, your soul is open, you'll be inspired. There's inspiration everywhere. But I'm very gut driven. So if something feels right, I just go with it. Right now our new collection features a lot of emerald cabochons. I'm so excited that we found them at an affordable price where we can incorporate them in our line, and I'm obsessed with the bright green, and it's beautiful for fall. But I'm very gut driven, and a lot of times other designers have the same gut, and I call that collective consciousness. And I think that, right? It's like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
it is
right.
And it's a little bit weird. So that's where I don't want to fall into the negativity of this person copied you, and it's, you know, really nice
Right.
people that say that to me, very loyal friends that say that to me. They think they're doing
Sure.
the best thing for me, but no, maybe she didn't copy me. Maybe we both really had the same idea. Maybe it's collective consciousness. You can't fall into that whole negative, vicious cycle.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to copy anyone.
Yes. They don't have
So,
time.
but
Yes.
for like, I was in LA, probably like a year ago, and I was in Malibu Mart, and I walked by a vintage jewelry store, and I saw this pendant that really caught my attention. So I went inside, and it was a 1940s vintage Cartier pendant. It was super cool, and it was very vintage looking. So I took the pendant and I made it my own, which is the piece that you liked. So basically, we have that with our signature hamsa that we've been selling for like 10 years. We put it on this round fan-like piece. There's a similar one there, and it's my hamsa that everyone recognizes as being the Jennifer Zeuner hamsa or the Jennifer Zeuner eye or the star on this very vintage-looking pendant. We made it modern, but it was definitely inspired by a Cartier 1940s. I took a picture. I sent it to my manufacturer. It took 4 manufacturers to get that fan-like piece done right. It's very difficult to make because it's a vintage piece. It's a very, like those machines. One of my manufacturers said they wanted to give me that machine, and I didn't want that old thing in my office. And that's the machine that I found, like, you know, in a little island, and they're the ones cutting my pieces perfectly. But it took like 6 months to find it, to cut it right. And then, and that created a whole very, 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 very successful line. That's probably gonna stay with our classic collection because it's been doing really well.
Gina.
So,
I would say the same as Jennifer. I design more from my gut. I love jewelry. Obviously, I'm sure all these women do. I wear a ton. I'm always wanting to wear more. A lot of my friends wear a lot of jewelry, so I look to them for inspiration a lot. I definitely, love fine jewelry. I don't make fine jewelry. I don't ever want to make fine jewelry, not at least now. But I love fine jewelry, so I go to fine jewelry a lot for inspiration. I use First Dibs. That's a website that I love, like vintage housewares and
Love it.
jewelry. So I go there a lot. But usually I just kind of, if we have a line that's working or a line that's not working, both lines, sometimes when they don't work, we'll like tweak it to make it work. Our line is very like celestial inspired, and it has been for a while. That works for us, like stars and moons, and I'm all into that, so that's really easy. We don't use a lot of color, so I'm not as aware of like what's happening in the Pantone world. We struggle with we work crystals and turquoise, and like that's it. Anything, if we go outside of that box, our customers we don't want that. So we use opals, like more neutral type stones, but really we work off bigger trends like statement earrings. So then I'll go and design a bunch of statement earrings. We're more of like a category driven business. So when the statement earrings are working, that's what we're designing. And we're, our core collection kind of complements that. But we're a trend line. We're on the trend floors and all the Nordstrom doors. So it's we need this. Chain chokers, leather chokers, you gotta be on it. So you kind of just have to know. It's like a gut thing. You just have to know what's coming.
I'm all creative.
All creative.
I'm really all creative. My husband would disagree. He's like, no, you're so business. If not, you wouldn't be where you are. But I think I'm all creative, and then, but I'm more creative, and I hired great people to handle a lot of the other aspects. But everything, I give the final word on everything. Everyone can do whatever they want. We can buy these boxes, where we're going to wrap our jewelry. But I need to be the final, I do the final approval.
You delegate the business.
But no one helps me with design.
Yes.
I help a little bit with everything, but I delegate it. But as far as design, no one helps me. and no one, I think they're scared. Yeah. They say to me, oh, they say, you should do this, because they don't want to overstep, but I am 100%
You're
like creative.
100% of your creative.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you never stop working.
Yes.
When you're always being inspired.
That's true. How about you, Dawn? How do you split creative and business?
Well, I'm for sure always creative. I'm not necessarily always in the mood to be creative. Sometimes you're forced to do a project. Like they need stars and moons, and they need 100 of them. And you're creating stars and moons, stars and moons, stars and moons, which is huge for us. Love stars and moons. But Tuesday comes around, you don't want to do stars and moons anymore. You're always creative. I guess what I'm saying is creativity can't be forced. And it's always a balance of both, the business part of it as well as the creative aspect. So, but by nature, I'm definitely more creative than I am business driven, although like we talked about before, it's necessary to have a balance of both, 100%.
How about you, Amanda?
Well, my production coordinator came from Juicy, so she comes from like a high level, like structured environment, and I'm like Miss Flighty, like, well, okay, we're gonna have a design meeting because I have like 20 new designs and we need to spec them out and we need to get sent into our factory in the next 2 weeks, okay? So because she comes from that world, she's like, we sort of collaboratively sort of restructured things where I sort of do that, have the designs ready to go, and then she and I, when, I'll work on the business throughout the day, and then, in the production world, that's being done on that side, and I'll meet with her, we work together, and get it and try to build it out. We really try to be as efficient as possible. That's really what it comes down to, because my designs will come to me at midnight and I'll be like, writing them down on my phone or putting them on like a scrap paper. So I'll try to like sit down, put a list together, and be like ultra organized for our meetings.
Okay. How about you, Gina?
I think, like these ladies, mostly creative, but somebody has to run the business. So that's me. What I try to do is like when I feel creative, I just drop everything because it doesn't come that much when you're like really ready to go. So really, actually this just happened like a few weeks ago. I was on the phone with my operations person and I was like, I gotta go. And he was like, what? And I was like, I gotta go. And I was just like, and just like had this idea and like jotted it down and like, you just have to kind of capitalize on it because I feel like I'm most of my days bogged down with like business stuff. And when those creative like impulses come, you kind of just have to like take advantage of it. And if I'm, out in my yard or whatever and like something happens, I just try to write it down because I don't remember. So I just try to write it down, or I'll just like, I'm the girl at the dentist's office that just like pulls the paper out of the magazine, I'm like, and, like shoves it in my bag.
Do you guys ever get ideas in the shower?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then I'm like, wait, we gotta get on the phone and like I have my like little list going, or
I number it in my mind when I'm in the shower.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, because the only way I'll remember it is if I'm like 1 this, 2 this, 3. So then when I get out, it's like when I'm teaching my 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
Pharrell came up with the
This,
song
do this.
Because I'm happy in the shower, and I read it like in a GQ magazine. I was like, okay, I'm not alone. I guess that's like a thing to get ideas while you're in the shower.
I think it's because it's like the only time when you truly can just like let go.
Well, I think
your mind
right.
wanders.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be out of your own head,
Yeah.
right? You have to be out. For me, it's when I run. That's why I run.
Oh, yeah. Same.
So I run all the time.
I always wish that would happen to me. Exercising, like I'm like, why aren't
That happens to me when I run.
Why aren't I being
When I'm
creative
exercising,
right now?
yeah,
Doesn't
thinking
happen
about
for
When
me.
I
run?
run outside,
Yeah. Doesn't happen for me then.
I've had bronchitis for a while, but I haven't ran so much. But when I run, yes, I
Yes,
do get
right?
ideas.
It's crazy, and I'll go in and I'm like sweating, and I'm like, oh, I have an
they have
idea.
it.
You know?
Right.
It's I don't know what it is and what
I
I see, and
agree.
I'm very guttural as well, and it's something. It's something I'm convinced is mainly about being outside of my head, and I think that's the only time I'm outside of my head is when I'm actually out, and I have to be outdoors. So don't run on a treadmill. Run outside.
I agree.
I think that's what my issue is.
Is it
Running
on a
on the
treadmill?
treadmill, and all I think about
Okay.
is
I
like,
run
okay,
outdoors
just
like
one
2
more
or 3
minute.
times a week, and
I
Right?
take out my iPhone and I start like like all the ideas because you know you'll forget.
Yeah,
If you don't-
exactly.
It's like a dream
Same.
if you don't.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
it really is. It really
I
is.
come, my outfits come together when I'm running. Like I'm like, oh, this
See?
is what I'm gonna
Nice
wear.
of you. You went for the run.
Yeah, no, I did one. I was like, this is what we're this day, and this is like that's what happens when I'm running.
Yeah, see?
So would you ladies agree, like what is your routine to balance that personal wellness with, having the business on your mind 24/7? Because as entrepreneurs, you would know you're constantly thinking about the business. Is there anything consciously that you do to maintain that well-being?
I work out a lot, and I need to.
Yeah, me too.
It's just my
Gina,
thing.
okay.
Like, I'm the girl that rolls into work. Like, I take a 9 to 10 workout class almost every day.
That's awesome.
I show up at 11, and I'm proud of it. I'm working out. If you guys don't want to be around me, if I didn't work out, for me, it's a huge part of, like, just
Yeah.
having a moment for myself.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've
Jen?
always worked out my whole life, but I haven't worked out so much lately. I've had bronchitis, like a long, drawn out bronchitis. So I haven't worked out in like 4 months, but I definitely take time to myself. I go to the beach a lot by myself. I live close to the beach, and it's a beautiful beach. And sometimes I'll wake up and my kids I have 4 children, and they're not interested in going, but they all seem very happy, doing arts and crafts, tennis, and I'll just go to the beach by myself and I sit. So I think it's important to reconnect with yourself and to nurture yourself. And sometimes it's working out, sometimes it's going to the beach, sometimes it's, just getting a massage. I don't know, I don't get massages, but whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, like, meditation, everyone says meditation is like the key to, long life, whatever it is, but you need to take a deep breath.
All right. What about you, Dawn?
I need to learn how to take more time for myself, actually. Running, as I had just mentioned, is a huge thing for me. I guess my diet, 99% vegan. I find every day I take time, I leave, I go to Whole Foods or Nectar or whatever juice place is around, wherever I'm traveling, and I make sure that I get a juice. Honestly, other than my juices and running, I need to carve out a little bit more time. I'm in the desert. I wish we had a beach. I'd be at the beach right there with you. So that is actually, that's been a resolution of mine for many years, to take more time for myself, because I think you need to recharge yourself. This business is 24/7. It doesn't stop. We don't have 9 to 5 jobs. Anybody who's interested, who's in the jewelry field, I know I was talking to you there. It's crazy. It's busy. So I think it's definitely important to take time for yourself, for sure.
I think my husband would say I need to put the phone down more.
I think that Kollectin it's a great bridge between the designer and the end user, and everything that we talked about these lifestyle bloggers. You're actually seeing them. They're wearing them. They're living in. And you had shown me that cool feature where they could actually try on the earrings, which is unbelievable to me. Scale is such a huge issue. Does everybody know what I mean by that? You'll see an earring online and you think it's this small, but when you get it, it's this large. So Kollectin just developed this really cool app, which I've never seen before, which is completely unique. And their customer could actually see the size of whatever it is they're trying on. Does it work for necklaces as well?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so for all accessories.
Yeah, we're still
So
in development for bracelets and rings. A little bit tricky because usually when you take a photo, you just stick your hand and your finger in.
Yeah, exactly. And you have like a ring around your nose or something. Yeah. So anyway.
It works very well for earrings and necklaces. Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
So
And Jen?
Okay, I have to be honest, when Cassidy reached out, I was like, yes, whatever, because I'm very, I think you have to stay grateful, and she gave me my first big break, so I'm like, yes, whatever, yes, because my sales rep reached out, and she's like, what is this, are you sure? I'm like, yes. So we'll make it work. So, and then when I found out what it was, after I said yes, which I think is really rare for me to say yes without knowing what it's about, I think it's amazing, because I think that's literally the way it's going. When I first started my line, my PR agency said to me, you need to have your own website because you're getting so much press and you're sending it to Saks and you're sending it to Bloomingdale's. And I was like, no, I want my retailers to be happy. I don't need to make retail. She's like, are you crazy? Like, you need your own website. So I resisted getting my own website. The headaches, it's a lot of headaches. It's a lot of hard work. Did my website. That was like, winning the lotto. I had no idea that it was going to be like that. So then I feel like this is, the next step. This is where the future is going. By making it as easy as possible for the consumer to shop. And I don't think it'll get easier than that, because you're shopping right from Instagram. So.
And Gina?
Well, it kind of takes this whole conversation like full circle because we're always looking for the next thing, like us sitting up here, like trying to figure out like how to stay ahead of it, you know? We all get Instagram, we all, you know, and when Cassidy reached out, and it was the same thing, like I was like, yeah, anything from Cassidy, whatever, yes. But when I actually read the deck, which like confessing, like it was like a few days later, I was like, wait, what am I actually doing here? I was like, this is so cool and so innovative, and it's an amazing way, you know, we're all working day and night to connect with influencers and connect with our consumer, and to kind of like have a platform where you guys are kind of doing it for us is really cool. Another touch point with influencers is always like, you know, in my book, bring it on. But then today I also have to say the technology is crazy and really, really cool, and I can't wait to have that on my phone. I can't wait to Snapchat that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I can see
really
a lot of people just posting like all other earrings that they maybe didn't even purchase and Snapchatting it, and then that'll just advertise it more.
I
And
know.
more.
I just cannot wait to
Yeah.
play with my daughter. It's gonna be like, oh my
It'll be like the new
God!
game. Yeah, so cute.
We actually make everything by hand in our studio. And, we're based in Scottsdale, Arizona, with the exception of our soldered items. Those 3,000 necklaces I talked about, we were making them, my kids were making them, my husband was making them. We were making them. The penalty is a pain in the butt and expensive if you don't get them to the store in time. But we make 95%, would you say? We even hand make our tassels. So I don't have... I was a fine art major. I was not a jewelry major. It was just something I was passionate about, and whatever I'm passionate about, I kind of just dive in. And that's sort of how it happens. Now we call them jewelry elves. We've got several jewelry elves that work in our studio and put together the pieces. I design everything. I don't make anything anymore, but I lay out everything, and we have them make them. They're far more efficient than I am these days. So
I made everything myself, but my aesthetic was very different. I started out a lot more beaded and bohemian. So when it was beaded and bohemian, I made it, and that's why I was up till 3 in the morning every night. And then I had my like nanny making jewelry. I had everyone like that. It just got too much for me. I think I admire you because I think I just shifted the design. I fell in love with a necklace I made in New York City, and I started manufacturing in New York City. There was a lot of soldering involved. So I shifted, but a lot of the shift happened because I was making everything by hand.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't. It was a lot of beaded. My hands were all cut up, and how I got that skill was at a little bead store.